Hello, lovely people. Welcome back to the Extreme Wise Predictions channel. I'm David, your psychic general, and nice to have you here. Today is Answer Monday, where I get to answer your questions in real time through my spiritual guide and angelic beings. If you are new here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and also turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any video on the channel. This is the channel where future news are actually heard today. If you want your questions to be answered, don't forget to drop them in the comment section of this video, and your question may be answered or may be featured in our next Answer Monday video. Let me give you guys a quick disclaimer. These readings are spiritual insight, not financial or legal advice. Take what resonates with you and always choose your own path. My psychic contents are for entertainment purposes only. Thank you guys for understanding. So the first question says that will AFD party Germany come to power or will it be banned? So I don't see the AFD party actually getting banned. This is what I'm actually generally or regularly actually seeing for the party. I see that other parties will rather make them become more popular, but I don't see the AFD party, coming to any federal power anytime soon. But I see that they are going to be very popular, but I don't see them winning any election at the moment. And I don't see them getting banned as well. That is what I see. Let's move on to the next question. So with the next question, I see it says, do you see the lowest point of Bitcoin month date if possible, and Ethereum month date if you can? Thank you again. Been following you religiously, my man. Okay. I will say that I will not be able to get you the months for those, but what I can do is that in general, I can say that Bitcoin will have one more all-time high this year before the end of the year or before the worst even starts happening to it. And then I'm seeing two promising Bitcoins that are coming. One is going to be for a short term, and then the other is going to be actually for a long term. I will include the details of those Bitcoins that I'm picking up in the members only channel. And this is not a financial advice. If you need financial advice, you have to actually get a certified financial advisor to actually give you this kind of information. But this is not actually a financial advice. And I will include that in my members only channel. Let's move on to the next question. The next question says that the cryptocurrency market experienced a sharp decline in altcoin history. Do you anticipate a repeat of such a flash crash this year? So my quick answer is that not this year, but for next year I do, and it is going to get worse. But when you are saying that, it's not giving me anything specific in terms of the altcoins are multiple coins. So which one are you talking about in reality? So I need to know which one you are talking about. But I see that there's going to be, let's say, a downside next year, especially for Bitcoin in general. So it's not for all the coins, but for Bitcoin in general. But if you can be specific onto your ones that you have, but I see also some alternative coins going high. Like I said, I'll put some ones in my members only places. Let's move on to the next question. Next question says that could you please channel any information concerning the ruling controlling of Gaza Strip by Turkey and any other Arab countries and managed by Tony Blair? Can you see whether his plan will be successful or will it last at all? So I think that the US Arab initiative to jointly govern Gaza will be short-lived. Uh, like I said in my previous predictions, I think that Israel will absorb Gaza. I still hold on to that prediction. Israel will absorb Gaza, unless maybe a country want to actually maybe control Israel. And you and I know that can never be possible. Israel will not allow itself to be controlled by any other country. But that's what I see happening. That eventually Gaza will be actually be absorbed by Israel. That's what I see happening. So anything that is happening now is going to be for a short term, and that is what I see happening. Let's move on to the next question. Next question says, will you know if President Lula will run in Brazil's 2026 presidential election? The short answer is going to be yes. And I'm even, whilst I'm talking to you about that, I'm even seeing the winner of the election already. And I will make, I'll include the details in my members only um, video that is going to come up today. I'm going to include that in my members only video. But yes, I see that the President Lula is going to run for the Brazil 2026 presidential election. Let us move on to the next question. The next question says that um, will Canada get rid of Prime Minister Mark Carney? I see. Okay, so I don't think that Canada will get rid of the Prime Minister Mark. I don't see that happening, and I don't think that anyone will get rid of him. He will be in power for a while. That is what I actually see happening. He's going to be in power for a while. I don't see any new election coming up at the moment. Worldwide, every country is suffering. So it's not, Canada is not an exception to that suffering. So I don't see anybody actually, kind of taking him down. It says, do you see Quebec separate from Canada? My short answer is that no, I don't see them actually being separating from Canada. I don't see that happening, but I know they are trying to actually achieve this. I know many times they will try, they will still going to be failing because I don't see them actually, separating themselves from Canada. And I think I made a prediction that Canada will eventually become part of US. It's not right now. It will eventually become part of US, but I don't see any in terms of they separating from Canada. Let me move on to the next question. Next question says that will secrets be revealed regarding Keir Starmer? Thank you. So yes, secrets are going to be revealed about Keir Starmer. I think I've been making this prediction over and over and over again. I think it's one of the things that my channel is actually being known for. I've been making this prediction over and over and again. But I will include, I'm picking up something, I will include the details of what is actually the secrets that are going to be revealed about Keir Starmer actually in the members only video. Let's move on to the next question. Next question says as thank you for answering all the questions. Do you see any positive impact on American workers with the H1B visa overall? So I'll say I don't see anything positive in regards to workers with the H1B visa. What I see is that most of them is going to be sent back home. The only thing, if H1B, you have H1B, maybe you can adjust your status through different means. But I don't see anything positive coming up because there's going to be unemployment. America is hit with a lot of unemployment, so there's going to be little to nothing positive thing for the H1B visas at this moment. I don't think it's the right moment if you have H1B visas at the moment to see anything positive happening. But you can also, kind of, adjust your status through different means. Let's move on to the next question. Will there be an earthquake or tsunami in Japan this year? Um, I think that maybe there should be maybe a strong earthquake in Japan, which I predicted in July 2025. I predicted that there's going to be an earthquake there. So if that earthquake has not actually happened, then it is going to actually happen. But if it has already happened, I don't see any major earthquake for Japan right now. I'm picking up an earthquake in Japan for 2026. When I was speaking with them in terms of my prediction for 2026, they told me there's going to be earthquake in Japan 2026, but I don't see any earthquake. I made a prediction already. Maybe that prediction, if it has already come through in July, if you want to watch my video, July 2026, I made a prediction about Japan having an earthquake. If that earthquake has happened, then I'm not seeing any other earthquake for Japan for the rest of 2025 at this moment. Let's move on to the next question. Next question says that will China invade or surround Taiwan in 2025? Will there be any conflict in East Asia, North Korea, South Korea, and Japan? I think there's a lot. So, first of all, let me pick up something. First of all, I'm not seeing China surrounding or invading Taiwan at the moment, but I see that their activities, like China I don't know what type of activity will it be, but I see China activities will cover small portions of Taiwan. That is what I see happening. They will cover small portions of Taiwan. And I'm also picking up in terms of North Korea, South Korea, I think they are also doing like missile tests and stuff like that. And I'm seeing that portions of those missile testing will hit other maybe other countries or other things like that. I'm seeing that portions of those may hit other countries or will accidentally, strike somewhere, another country, but I don't see it like becoming like a major stuff. And whilst I'm talking about that, when you talked about Japan, I'm seeing that Japan will not have a conflict. But I'm picking something strange. I'm asking why if Japan will not have a conflict, why are they doing this? And I'm seeing that they are actually preparing. It's like they are preparing for war. I'm seeing them preparing for war. It's like something like that. I don't know why they are actually preparing for war, but that is what I see. But I don't see any conflict for them. And I think they are preparing for war in terms of that. That's what I'm saying. Let's move on to the next question. It says, do you see JD Vance becoming a president in 2026? With this question, I find it sometimes very funny, how some of my fellow psychic predicts that, Trump will actually step down in 2026 or something like that. They have predicted it in 2025 and it has never happened. I don't see Trump actually stepping down. Let me tell you this for straight. Trump will not step down. If there's going to be a step down for Trump, unless they end his life, even if he's in a wheelchair, he will still become the president. This is something that is written in books. It's something that is in his DNA. So there's nothing like a vacancy for JD Vance becoming the president in 2026. But JD Vance will eventually become the president in an election, but not through, Trump actually stepping down. That's what I see. And I told you guys that Trump will actually be running for a third term, and maybe, even becoming the vice president, but still be running the show. So that is what I actually see happening in that interim. Let's move on to the next question. They say, if you don't mind, kindly answer a second question. Do you see whether um, Turkey will impose its ruling and influence in Syria? And what would be the result of such eventually? I think Turkey is already have influence in Syria. And I also see that eventually they will impose their ruling on them as well. But I don't see them having like a total control of Syria. I don't see that happening. But I see that they will impose their rulings. And I think that the influence is already happening in Syria already, with Turkey and Syria at this moment. But I don't see like a total control at this moment. Let's move on to the next question. The next question says there's a lot of talks everywhere about humans' first contact with extraterrestrial. And even though they have been around for a long time, why now was behind it? So, yes, aliens have been with us for a long time, or you can say extraterrestrials have been with us for a very long time already. They are living among us, and it is that. But the ones that they are actually talking about, that there's a first contact and that, you know, those are all lies. Those are all fallacies. There's no, these are all tactics, that they are using to play on our minds and stuff for the real issues at hand, for us to actually be forgetting about the real issues at hand. But I don't think it is actually working because people will actually be demanding for evidence. So I don't see that happening, that, they will be able to bypass what they are planning in terms of this. But that's what I see. I see it's a tactics that they are actually using at this moment. Let's move on to the next question. The next question says that there is talks of civil war in France in the coming months between whom and whom, and how long will it last? What will end it? So I see that I have made predictions about this in my October 2025 predictions. I think that this is going to be between the government in power against the citizens. And this is going to be until Emmanuel Macron actually steps down. So that is how it's going to end if Emmanuel Macron steps down. Though they are going to protest, they are going to fight that a little bit conflict, if that's how you say it. But that's internal conflict that's going to be happening. That's what I see happening. Let's move on to the next question. The next question says that why are wars, religious communities at odds with each other? Why haven't they understood that we are all human brothers and sisters? When will this change? So, first of all, it's not going to change. And it is the hunger for power. Everyone wants to be the one in charge. And the way this goes deep is beyond words. And I will include some details in the members only video section. But here's the case that this goes deeper than we think and that we know. And that's what I see happening. It is quite unfortunate that we can't understand each other. Let's move on to the next question. Next question say, will there be a nationwide power outage in late 2025 or in 2026 in Belgium during this winter months? And will the outage be long and from what causes? Okay, so I don't see a major outage in Belgium for now till April 2026, as your question was saying. Other countries may experience outage, but I don't see any outage for Belgium at the moment. I think what I see, and I've been predicting about it for Belgium, is the unemployment rate is going to go high. That is what I see about Belgium at the moment. Let's move on to the next question. It says that is there ever going to be peace on earth? So the answer is no. There's never going to be peace on earth, but there's going to be peaceful countries while other countries have conflict among themselves. There's going to be that is it, but there's no going to be 100% going to be peace on earth at the moment. No, it's maybe in a different world, but not this in this current world that we are living in. I don't see any peace happening in the current world that we are living in. Let's move on to the next question. It says that what do you see ahead of Turkish economy and the value of the lira? Okay, so I see that the Turkish economy will experience growth in 2026, which will be more better than what we have seen in 2025. Unfortunately, that's what I see happening. Even though people are saying that like, the economy is not surviving, but that's what I see. And then the Turkish currency will get worse and worse, and it will depreciate more even in 2026. That's what I see happening. Even from now to December, still the currency is going to depreciate. That's what I see happening. I think I see happening. Let's move on to the next question. The next question says, can you see if there's going to be a safe place in Europe in regards to World War III? Do you think all countries will be affected? I think World War III will not happen all of a sudden. We have to know that. And you will know it when it actually starts. And you will also know the safe countries as well. But what I would say is that the countries in NATO or the NATO countries will be the ones that will be affected more or the most in this instance. So I don't want to mention any countries, but that's how that I'm going to give you the clue in terms of that. If there is going to be any World War III that is going to be happening. Let's move on to the next question. I say I wonder if you can see what will happen to Europe in the future. Will there be a split? So with Europe, EU will have a split, but not right now. I see that some countries will join other countries in the EU. I see that happening. Like I also predicted in the past that UK will actually become part of the US. That is what I saw happening. But that is how it is going to actually be that the country, some of them will split and stuff like that. But I don't see it happening actually like right now. Let's move on to the next question. The next question says that will Greece be affected by the earthquake in Turkey? And are we due for one also? So this is for Greece. So I think that Greece will experience earthquakes, right? And I'm also, right now as I'm hearing that there's earthquake happening now in in Greece. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing earthquake happening in multiple parts of Greece right now. That's what I'm seeing happening in terms of what they are telling me right now. But for the rest of the world, all the ones that I'm seeing in terms of the earthquake will not be anything that is going to pass maybe a magnitude of 5.0 or something like that. That's what I'm seeing. There's going to be earthquakes, but it's not going to be something that is going to be passing maybe 5.0 like the one that happened, I think, somewhere um, 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 at that time. Yeah, so that's what I see happening. Let's move on to the next question. The next question says that I always admire Candice Owens, but the past years it seems as though she's going through a mental breakdown. She has almost become manic and obsessive, compulsive, and cannot let anything go. She no longer seems to be in control of herself. And I would say that the Charlie Clerk situation where she has accused so many innocent people of being involved in his death. So, I would not like to answer this question. I will say that for a fact. But you can check my other videos. I made a prediction, I think in my June 2026 psychic prediction, that there's going to be a famous person coming out publicly about something of their health and stuff like that. I termed it like an A-lister. I think it's my first three predictions. You will see it in there. You can check that video and you get an idea of what I actually predicted about in terms of that. But I don't want to have any public prediction of someone without the approval at the moment. So let's move on to the next question. It says, when will the war stop with Russia and Ukraine? And I think I spoke about this in one of my videos already, that the war somehow will be, it is going to last for maybe somewhere in late 2026. That's what I said is going to happen. And this has to come through a deal where Ukraine will actually give up portion of their land to Russia, and that is what I see happening. And if that is taking place, then we're going to see peace. But if that is not taking place, I'm quite unfortunate like that we are not going to be seeing peace at the moment. But that's what I see actually happening. Ukraine and Russia, there's going to eventually be peace, but not at in 2025, but somewhere in 2026. Let's move on to the next question. A question about France. Can you go in on details about the evolution of the coming social unrest? Around what time do you see Macron stepping down in favor of Marine Le Pen? Will that be in 2026 already? What kind of measures will she put in place that will impact the lives of average people? Will the discrimination rise? How will the unvaxxed and their children be discriminated against it eventually? I think I've already done a lot of prediction about France. You can kindly check some of I think my Answer Monday video I posted on September 15th, 2025, where I'm talking about his step down somewhere in April 2026, that when I was looking at this. So you can look at my predictions that I've made concerning that in that interim. But let's not go ahead of ourselves in terms of, predicting about Marielle Le Pen, what she's going to be having in place when she becomes president, when she has not actually assumed the seat to become president at the moment. You know me for a fact that when I have pending predictions, I don't like to go ahead of myself to make other predictions when the pending predictions has not come through yet. So let's wait till Marielle Le Pen actually becomes the president, then we can go ahead of ourselves and make some predictions. And you know me for a fact, pending predictions, I don't want to go ahead of myself. Let's wait for that to happen and then we can make other predictions. Let's move on to the last question. The last question says that, will this racism towards the UK flag stop? Union Jack is our country's flag and it should be flown high and proud. I don't see the racism towards the UK flag actually stopping. I think that this will actually, unfortunately, become worse, and that is what I actually see happening, that people will actually continue to do this. Human behaviors cannot be controlled. It is for the person to actually control their own behaviors. And I don't see anything stopping for that interim at the moment. Thank you guys for being with me here on Answer Monday. If you want your questions to be answered, like I said, put them in the comment section below. If you want to join our membership, also the link is in the description and you can join the membership as well. And then you can also follow my other social media channels. Thank you guys for watching.